Welcome everyone to part 2 of SRCD's Decentering Your Syllabus webinar series, the Coffee Hour Roundtable discussion. My name is Ravenel Davis, and I am the Science Associate at the Society for Research in Child Development. If you joined us last week, we are so excited to see you back. And if you are new this week, welcome. We thank you for attending and hope you find today's breakout sessions and discussions helpful in answering any questions you may have regarding syllabus construction and preparation for the fall semester. We ask that you please complete the brief evaluation survey that will be sent to you after the webinar. Once again, I would like to welcome our moderator, Dr. Aya Shigeto, who is the current chair of the SRCD Teaching Committee. Dr. Shigeto is an associate professor of psychology and neuroscience in the College of Psychology at Nova Southeastern University. Welcome, Aya.
Thank you, Ravenel. Good morning. I think to most of you. So good morning, or I hope good afternoon. Either way. My name is Aya Shigeto. As Ravenel mentioned, I'm the SRCD Teaching Committee chair. It's a chair, but I've been still work in progress. So, I hope that you'll be able to learn or exchange some exciting ideas about syllabus or how to design a course that is fair and equity-minded to everybody. And I think the SRCD still is working on posting a recording of webinar 1. And then, so it should be available pretty soon. So you should expect an email from SRCD. And then please watch that recording if you didn't have a chance to attend, or even if you did attend it. It's nice to kind of be reminded how important equity-mindedness is for class. So today we have actually one panelist in the lead the presenter from the webinar 1, the part 1. So I will just introduce them again. So let's see, let me just approve my script. Okay, so Dr. Gabriela Chavira is a professor of psychology at California State University, Northridge. She uses critical race theory as a framework to engage a large number of students. And she did provide a fantastic webinar last week. So again, please check it out. Dr. Jamie Jirout, actually became an associate professor as of yesterday, I think. So congrats. In Department of Leadership and Foundation and Policy in School of Education and Human Development at the University of Virginia. She teaches courses in child development, education, and cognitive psychology. And then she uses already equity-minded practices in her class, including specification grading. Again, she did share some of the pedagogical techniques that she does use in her class last week during the webinar. So please check that out to get some ideas. So now that I introduced two moderators for today's webinar, let me actually explain how we're going to run this thing today. So there are 3 moderators, including myself and Jamie and Gabriela. And what we're going to do is to randomly assign attendees to one of the breakout rooms. And I'm going to post the topics that I'm going to address. Let me see. Where is my topic? Sorry. It was there, but I lost it. Where is it? Anyone, Gabriela or Jamie? Where did I cannot find the email. Oh, got it. I'm sorry. Got it. Oh, got it. Okay, thank you, Jamie. So you can see 5 topics. Let me see. It's maybe difficult to see. Can we number them? Yeah, let me see that. Okay.
Sorry, I don't know why they come.
Yeah, it's okay. So I posted 5 topics and I just posted them as a reference point. So when you are randomly assigned to one of the each breakout rooms with one of us in it, you can just kind of share your questions and ideas and burning, like anything that you want to discuss. It doesn't have to be related to what we talked about last week regarding equity mindedness in the classroom. It can be that, but it doesn't have to be. So then we will stay in a breakout room for about 10 minutes based on one theme of a question of questions. And then I come back to the main room and then we can share what we talked about for, another 10 minutes or so. And then we will do this about 2-3 times. And then, each time, hopefully you will see different people in each breakout rooms with different moderators. It could be the same, but hopefully at least, you will be able to see 2 different people by the time we end this webinar. And then we can come back to the main room and then wrap up the coffee hour roundtable with additional questions. And then we are hoping that it will take about an hour. If more, we can have like an hour and 15 minutes or so. So does it make sense? Okay. So let's see how this works. So hopefully it will work. And then everybody can get something. All right. So Nate.
Yeah, those sound great. In our group, we had some really great discussions as well. We had different levels of experience teaching. And so one of the issues that came up was balancing between the content, like how do I address issues like, for example, health disparities, but I still also make sure that I teach the content that I need to teach. And so how do you balance that? We also talked about courses that are heavy writing and how do you help students be more equity? How are you more equity minded when you require a lot of writing in your class? And so we gave some suggestions. Several of us gave suggestions about how to kind of ease students into writing as opposed to just forcing everybody like, okay, you're going to write five 5-page papers or a big term paper, and which could be really daunting for students, especially first gen students.
Gabriela, I'm kind of curious, what suggestions have you kind of exchanged?
Yeah. Let's see. Who was it? Joanna, do you want to talk about what you learned, or we're the ones who gave you your suggestions? So
yes. So regarding the heavy writing part, yes. So different strategies. One of them, well, something particular about my class is that it's a big group, right? And they started to get into this idea of writing papers. So I received a lot of recommendations about how we get them to start writing something, right? To start with something. So writing small reflections, or even not just writing, but also audio recording the reflections, and start working from them. So it's like no expect from them to submit a final paper, but instead working on a process. So that was a recommendation that I had. Also, something that I would like to try in my class is to encourage them to submit an early version that we can use and revise in small groups, right? Before the deadline. So I think that could be helpful for us in terms of me having an idea about what I'm going to receive, right? But also having the opportunity for students to identify issues early before the deadline. Yes, and also something that I would like to try is to encourage the students to submit versions or the final version earlier. So I can have the opportunity to revise and grade their work in different moments, close at the end of the semester, because they have a final paper at the end, but also they have the final exam. So I have like a very small window to grade them. So I'm going to encourage them to submit earlier the final work, so I can have like a time for grading. I think that's it.
Thank you, Jonna.
Thank you, John. We also addressed the issue of ungrading, which is really exciting, and at least gave us some suggestions and things like that. So yeah, we had a lot to discuss. So thank you for everyone sharing your ideas.
Okay, and I'll try to summarize. We also talked about a lot, so I'll just mention a few things that came up. One of the big things that I think is similar to what was just talking about is thinking about this weighing of kind of the assessment and feedback and in helping students with whatever they need, and also like managing all of the things that we're responsible for. So that was kind of where we started our conversation, and thinking about how to balance that and let students know that we are here to help even if we are stressed, and how to make them see us as approachable and partners in their learning. Some of the things that I found especially interesting that are kind of concrete was discussion around creating kind of a culture where students are comfortable talking about issues related to DEI and being inclusive. And there was a few great suggestions. So one of the ones was in the beginning of the semester, thinking about having students write a positionality statement to really think about kind of where they're coming from and what might be shaping their own perspectives and way of thinking about things. And then also hearing about how other students might be different and kind of what that means. And also maybe helping to build community by getting to know each other. And then also having kind of a common vocabulary where we can think about kind of the different terms that we use that might not mean the same thing to different people, and some students might not know what all of these different terminologies mean, and some might be kind of trigger terms from things in popular press that don't actually mean, or they might have misconceptions about what those words mean. And so thinking about kind of just using language that is inclusive. And one thing that I hadn't really thought about is like even talking about prenatal development. So subtle changes around things like the pregnant person or the person, instead of saying the pregnant mother, or making assumptions around that, and using precise terms about, I do use precise terms about prenatal development, but just thinking about the impact of the language that we use. And I have a link that I can share that is an APA guide for this. Let me put it in the chat. So just some language guidelines that might be helpful. And then kind of a more general idea that we ended up with, and kind of the theme of our whole conversation, is just the need to kind of be brave and open to trying things, and knowing that, we might try things and they might not work, and we might need to try again or tweak things or do different things. And that it can be scary and it can be hard, but that's what it takes to kind of improve and learn and make positive changes in our course. So we probably could have talked a lot longer about a lot of things, but I think it was really interesting and we got some ideas. And then there was also a recommendation for a book that I can also put in the chat for anyone who's interested. People from my group, did I miss anything important or anything that you think people would want to hear? Okay.
So thank you, Jamie, and Gabriela, to share what you talked about in a group. So I realized that it's 11:53 Eastern time. So we spent a good amount of time in that breakout room, which was great. But my plan was to kind of do it maybe one more time. I don't know. What do you think? Do we have enough time? Yeah, it's kind of running late, right? So let's kind of open up the floor to everybody. Maybe we can kind of talk about whatever you want to maybe burning questions that couldn't be addressed during the breakout room. Maybe we can kind of talk about that here in the main room. So does anyone have specific questions or ideas, experience, anything?
I had one last question actually, and I was just wondering if anyone had any resources around Chat GPT and AI and how we deal with that for written assignments.
Thank you, Victoria.
Mhm.
I don't, yes, it has come up quite a bit last semester, started to come out as sort of a issue last semester. Not so much before that. I myself haven't encountered plagiarism or issue related to AI or ChatGPT, but my colleagues have. So I don't have specific strategies or ideas. Maybe some of you do. Gabriela?
Yeah, so I belong to on Facebook. I'm still on Facebook. There's a couple of groups that actually in psychology and teaching that have created resources. So I'm going to download them because I have them, and then I can put them in the resource folder that we provided, because I think that it is a growing issue. And I think if you really think about it, I think it's here. Students are going to use it, and we have to find a way to embrace it and maybe even incorporate it within your class. Like, hey, here, start your essays and, you use it. You can, you have your essay and reflect on it and then compare it, and you can put it in ChatGPT and see what ChatGPT creates for you and based on that. But, students are going to use it, right? And so
Yeah.
how do we work around that? But yeah, there are some guidelines that people have started putting in their syllabi regarding that. And so I can put some of that in there or in the resource folder.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Yeah, I heard that there are some tools out there online that you can use, like a kind of similar to Turnitin.com, kind of, to detect whether something was AI generated. I haven't used it myself, but my colleague said that it kind of does work to some extent. It kind of gives you the percentage, like, oh, this is 99%. It's AI generated. Like, especially like on a discussion board, especially for online classes, they're supposed to post their own things, not just the AI generated responses. But then. And then I understand that you can use tools to detect, the AI general responses, but at the same time, as Gabriela mentioned, the AI is here to stay. So I think, I think you just want to come up with some assignments that are difficult to difficult to be generated by AI. And then I think Jamie or some other people saying, like if you have specific citations, like specific work to, write about or summarize, it may be difficult for AI to generate paper for you, but I think maybe there are some resources out there, as Gabriela mentioned, that we can use.
I feel like it's one more thing to add to our syllabi. And that's one of the things that I had my questions like back last week was just like, how much needs to be in there? When there's so much, are students even getting kind of the important stuff from there? And in the box folder, I put an example of what I've done is like a 3-page, like more engaging, important info one, and then like the full long document. But it is frustrating to just think like how much stuff is in our syllabus, but I don't know what else to do. Like where else? It's got to be somewhere. And the syllabus is kind of like that agreement. I'd love to hear what people do to help, because I feel like if students can't find it, what's the point?
Any other questions?
Thank you, Lisa, for the AI resource right there. It's in the chat if anybody wants.
Yeah, I'm reading. So, purpose of activities, right? Yeah, I have should generate syllabus. Yeah, I think sometimes if you don't put all the responsibility on yourself or come up with a policy by yourself, it could be helpful for us to bring up the issue at the faculty meeting or whatever, and then maybe the department can come up with a department-wide policy, either in addition to or instead of your own policy. That way, it's not just me doing it, everybody else is doing the same thing. So and also we can always use an excuse, it's not me, it's the university making me do this. So that way, kind of just get the pressure a little off of yourself. So I'm pretty sure a lot of institutions are trying to come up with institution-wide policies, or at least department-wide policy about ChatGPT or AI in general. So I think it's important to kind of bring that up to faculty meeting or chair. Anything else? Any other questions? No? Well, thank you very much. I thought that it was a very fruitful, very helpful discussion today. I hope you feel the same way about today's webinar. So you will receive an email after this regarding the follow-up survey, feedback survey. So please do fill that out so that we can plan future webinars like this. You can tell us like what worked, what didn't work, so that we can improve upon our first webinars last week and then this week. But hopefully you learned a lot. I did learn a lot from my fellow educators. So thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of this summer as much as you can, or come up with the syllabus. I need to generate the syllabus myself. So thank you very much, and I will hopefully see you around in the fall.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much.